Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Hey folks, Greg here for Locker Gnome. I'm giving you a first impression look at the new Fable 3 game out now, only available on the Xbox 360. Let me also say that I literally received this game less than 24 hours ago, and so I sped through it at like 100 miles an hour, so keep that in mind as we're going through this. The main storyline took me about 12 hours to get through. But don't worry, as you would expect with the Fable game, there are a ton of side missions to keep you busy for many more hours. Fable 3 picks up at about 50 years where we left off from Fable 2. In fact, the hero in this game is actually the youngest of two sons of our hero from Fable 2. The older brother is actually the current king, and he's not doing a very good job at it. Like other Fable stories, you need to save Albion from tyranny, only this time it's within your own family. So your stint as the wealthy prince is short-lived as you escape from the castle, travel around Albion seeking help from its inhabitants to eventually overthrow your brother, the king. What's nice is that unlike other Fable games, once you've done this, you actually get to play as the king and make decisions like a king, for a little while at least. Once you're king, you find out that there's a far greater threat, so your decisions as king will determine that outcome. This is cool because you basically get two storylines. You get to defeat your tyrant brother and claim the throne for yourself. You rule, and you get to rule for a short time, hoping that the decisions you make will have a favorable outcome in the end. As I'm sure you've already guessed, that's the storyline in a nutshell. Now let's talk about some specifics. To be perfectly honest with you, I was not greatly impressed with this game. Because of the many differences between Fable 1 and Fable 2, I kind of expected a little more from Fable 3. The storyline isn't the only thing that picks up from Fable 2. Gameplay itself is nearly identical, with a few differences here and there. The first thing you'll notice is that you have your dog again. Just like in Fable 2, the dog is pretty much useless. He'll help you find treasure and act as an early detection system for enemies, but really that's about it. I was very disappointed. I was kind of hoping that they'd do something a little bit more, but they didn't, so that's disappointing. Fighting, once again, just like in Fable 2 and Fable 1, to be specific, is repetitive and limited to button mashing, the same combo that will result in a different move, but you don't have a choice in what that move is. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they do a different move each time, yet you're pushing the same button every single time, and you don't get to choose what that move is. There was one particular one that I liked where he used his knees to break the neck, and it was really cool, but I don't get to choose that one. So I'm stuck with whatever they randomly give me each time. It also seemed that there was a lot of there wasn't a lot of weapons in this version. Again, keep in mind, I've had a very short amount of time with this game, so they may be in there and I just may have missed them, but if they are, they weren't easy to find. Also, there's no customizing of the weapons with jewels to add any special abilities. The weapons come with the upgrades already built into them, but you need to perform specific tasks to unlock them. This is ridiculous. One of them was that I needed to kill 150 ugly creatures. Well, I mean, what determines an ugly creature? And 150, I mean, that's a lot when they're throwing them 4 or 5 at you at a time. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'd much rather just pay for the upgrades and enjoy the rest of the gameplay with those upgrades. Once again, you have spells, only this time they are in the form of gauntlets that you wear. This means that you only have 2 spells at a time. You can switch between them, but you have to go back to your sanctuary base to change them out. Luckily enough, you can change these out in the middle of a battle, which is good. If you couldn't change them out in the middle of a battle, that would kind of suck. You'd be stuck with the same 2. The one cool thing that they've added in this is that you get to combine those spells for some pretty cool spells, the combination of the two. My favorite is combining the fireball with the vortex, and I get this nice fiery tornado, which is really cool, and it helps, take out the bad guys. And like fighting, spells are also repetitive button mashing, very annoying. There's no special ones to get a special spell. I much rather would have had a combination of buttons to do a certain type of spell rather than just choosing specific ones. Let's move on to the armor and outfits. Again, very limited supply. I think I only found one armor. And the sad thing about this is that the armor, you get no benefits for the outfits. People aren't more impressed by the outfit that you're wearing. You don't get any defensive or offensive attack bonuses. I don't know why. I mean, I could have played the entire game in the character's pajamas and still done just fine. So that was really disappointing. They offer a bunch of customization for the outfits, but really, I mean, what's the point? I mean, why do I want to go and spend my time and spend resources on different colored dyes if there's no benefit to it? So that was kind of lame. Let's talk about the interaction with the townsfolk, because that's a little bit different than it was in Fable 2. If you remember, in Fable 2, you had several choices depending upon who you were talking to and what it is you were going to say to them, and not everybody reacted in the same way to the same response. Well, that's gone, kinda. In this version, you get two choices to choose from, and it doesn't matter who you talk to. It doesn't matter what sex they are. I went the entire game with Dance and Belch as my first interaction with every single person, regardless of sex. And everybody loved dancing, whether it was a man or a woman. Everybody loved dancing. So it wasn't like in Fable 2 where some people might like, when you tell a joke, and some people don't. In this, everybody loved dancing, and maybe some of the other ones. I got annoyed with it, and so I didn't look up any of the other ones. They also took out the option to get passed through the cutscenes. And if you remember from Fable 2, you can hold down the button and it would go past the cutscene. Well, you couldn't do that in this one, and that was very annoying because some of the cutscenes were awful and they were meaningless. And so I probably could have done the game in probably half the time if I was able to get past the cutscenes. Like in Fable 2, you get to buy a house and businesses. With houses, though, you have to pay for upkeep regularly. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if it's kind of cool because it keeps you on your toes, or if I really, because I was accelerated through the game, I was kind of annoyed with it, having to go back and pay to upkeep the house. The condition of the house would directly reflect how much rent you would receive from that house. Businesses didn't have that. It was just the rentals. So don't bother renting at a house. Just buy all the businesses and leave the houses alone if you don't want to pay for the upkeep. Owning property is the best way to raise your income besides getting one of the jobs. The jobs are slightly new. You can choose to be a blacksmith, like in Fable 2, a pie maker, or a lute musician. Again, just a bunch of random button mashing at a certain time. Although in this one, as opposed to Fable 2, it's a combination of buttons. So you may have to do like an A, X, in whatever combination that appears on the screen, rather than just hitting it, when it hits that little line there. They're all really stupid jobs, but they're great for raising that one last $1,000 that you need to buy a house. Fast travel has been improved. You can go to your sanctuary, pull up a map, and you can jump to anywhere within in the world. This is great because you can also get a little bit deeper and go to different sections within the city, and it makes traveling a lot faster, so you don't have to run throughout the world that much more. This menu is also great because you can manage everything from this menu. You can actually buy houses from this menu. You can manage all your properties, so if you need to do an upkeep, or if you need to raise taxes or raise the prices on your items, this is great. You don't have to run to each single house and do this. You can do it all from this menu, which is kind of cool. The lack of a difficulty settings in this game is a major disappointment. I went through the entire game without dying even once. I used the same weapon through the last 75% of the game, and I only used 8 health potions. And it wasn't even on the final battle. So gameplay is really super simple. I don't know why they didn't put this in there. I like the games. I'm not a very good gamer to begin with, but I still like them to be a little bit challenging. I like to die a few times so I can figure out how best to get through it. So having a game difficulty, not having that, is a major oversight in my opinion. So, in conclusion, Fable 3, in my book, was a major disappointment. Frankly, I may not even go back and play the rest of the missions. If you're a gamer who's really into the sim-like games where you build and run a world, you may like this game. You may be able to find lots and time. You may like it. I don't like it. I don't like those kind of things. If you're into RPGs with challenges that really rock your brain, you're not going to find it here. I'm sorry. So, take that into consideration when you're buying the game. And of course, always, take your own word for it. So, well, that's my first impression of the Fable 3 for Locker Gnome. Don't forget to subscribe to the Locker Gnome YouTube channel to stay up to date on all the latest geekery. You can also follow me on Twitter at CoolGuyGreg. Thanks.